do a post or pregame interview because this will be the most nervous that I've ever been for one for sure. But
again, that was Tampa.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Good Monday afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 35 News Plus. I am Marlisa Goldsmith in for Garrett Weimer this afternoon, and we have a lot of stories that we want to get to for you in the next hour. We're going to begin with our top 4 at 4 here. Several big stories that have made their way to the top of our website on fox35orlando.com, and joining us to talk all about it is Fox 35 News anchor and reporter Hannah MacKenzie joining us this afternoon. Hannah, good to see you.
Hey there, Marlisa. Good to see you too.
Yes, this is a nice switch up on a Monday.
It is. I feel like we're both doing different roles, and we're happy to be here.
We are happy to be here
and we got
figuring it out
matching
together,
bracelets.
and we do. Girl power. Okay, so there are a lot of, I hate that the time that we get to work together in this atmosphere, such terrible stories that we have to report on.
It really is, especially this week, Marlisa.
Yes,
Good gosh.
yes.
Yeah.
And the top story, leading top 4 at 4 today, is one of the biggest stories that has been generating a lot of buzz, not only across Osceola County, but across the state, really. Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez has been suspended after he was arrested last Thursday morning. This was something that no one was expecting.
No one, at least within our area, but at the federal level, they had their eyes on him for quite some time.
Right.
Marlisa, federal racketeering charges and conspiracy to commit racketeering charges. We are talking major charges here, and he is still in jail right now, which I know is very surprising to a lot of us. We thought he would kind of just get in and get out, but it does not seem to be that way at all.
No.
Interesting.
Yes, very much so. And we're looking at video here from him addressing the judge for the first time last week. I mean, just the imagery of him, his mugshot, him in the orange jumpsuit compared to him right here when he was first being arrested by Homeland Security. They called him in for a meeting. And I mean, this was just stunning news for us to find out last week. Again, these charges are racketeering charges. And so we also spoke with former sheriff's deputy and detective James Copenhaver about the suspended sheriff and him likely being in the dark before he was arrested. This was very interesting. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I mean, if you take a look at that initial footage, he was at HSI headquarters when they were just getting ready to start processing him. Not a lip reader, but it certainly looked to me like he mumbled the words or spoke the words, "What's this all about?"
You're right. I saw that. I did see that.
And being part of these lengthy undercover covert operations, I did them most of my career. The bad guy never knows until that arrest comes. So I'm going to suggest to you and the viewers that the sheriff had no clue this was coming.
So again, that was former sheriff's deputy and detective James Copenhaver about this. It was a very fascinating conversation that we had this afternoon, Hannah, with regards to this investigation, where it stands. It sounds like there are still several things that could come out in the coming days. Again, we've been following this since the very beginning. And
just, I will say, Marlisa, today we actually got some more information. So obviously, while the former sheriff sits in jail trying to figure out what's his next steps are, his current, or his former, I guess now, employees are being let go.
Yes.
So we actually heard from Nirva Rodriguez, who I know a lot about because she seems to be, she does a lot of the coordinating of the sheriff's
press
schedule.
She
press conferences. Every time he is there, she's usually up there first, announcing his presence and making sure that the media is in the right place, things like that. So she is now out of the office. We noticed it this morning. Her profile page, I guess, had been taken off the sheriff's website. And we reached out to her for a comment, Marlisa. We have it. I can read it.
Okay, yes, please do.
Okay, let's get to it. Okay, this is from her. So this is Nirva Rodriguez, who was former Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez's administrative assistant within the organization. So she says, I am releasing this statement to address my recent termination from the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. I want to emphasize that my termination is a separate matter from the suspension of former Sheriff Marcos Lopez by the governor of Florida. I have no knowledge of the allegations against the former sheriff, and I am not involved in that investigation. As an at-will employee, I understand that my employment can be terminated at any time without cause. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to have served the citizens of Osceola County, and I am proud of the good work that was accomplished during my time at the agency. I feel blessed to have been part of the team, and I have had the chance to make a positive impact in the community. I appreciate the experience and wish the agency and its employees all the best in their future endeavors. God bless you all.
Now, what stood out to me in that comment was she wanted to make clear that she is not a part, allegedly not a part of anything going on with the suspended sheriff out there in Osceola County.
Yes, and kind of was pointing also, like doubling down, Marlisa, kind of saying like, I know that my, job here can be terminated at any time for any reason. Yeah, so only time will tell, because I know those federal and state officials have been looking into him for quite some time. So.
Or at least the past couple years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
interesting. All right, we want to move on to story number 2 here. It's regarding the Sumter County superintendent responding to a shell school scandal. So, Hannah, break this down for us.
So this is another tangled web of chaos that just seems to be unraveling, like a sweater, one thing at a time. The more they pull, the more they find out with this. So this involves 2 of the top Sumter County School Board head honchos. Basically, they're being told that these shell schools were done at various campuses, happening all the way back from 2016. So this comes as a report from the Office of Inspector General, and they came out with this report according to them, confirming that the former superintendent of schools, Richard Shirley, and the former assistant superintendent, Deborah Moffitt, engaged in a systematic falsification of student data by establishing these so-called shell schools at various campuses across the entire county. So basically, they said this investigation found students were withdrawn from their zoned schools and enrolled without their knowledge or their parents' knowledge in a district-run virtual school under a separate school code, Marlisa.
Very interesting.
It's an odd one.
Yeah. And the fact that this superintendent has now taken over, and he was clear in his press conference and letting everyone know, this is in full transparency.
Right.
I want you to know that I'm being honest, I'm being truthful about the history, and this happened before I took over.
And he has a long way to go because, allegations like these, parents and students are upset. So he's going to have to do a lot to then prove that they are squeaky clean from here on out.
Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and take a listen to a portion of the press conference that we watched and streamed earlier this afternoon.
Per the report, there was approximately 200 students that were involved in moving the kids from their traditional school code to a virtual school code known as SOAR. Those students came from 4 different schools across the district. The schools impacted were Wildwood Elementary School, South Sumter Middle School, Wildwood Middle High School, and Webster Elementary School. Per the Inspector General's report, the budget impact for having this program to create the shell schools was between $400,000 and $500,000. And just as the new leader of the school district, I felt it was important to share this information because my philosophy on leadership is not only transparency, but as a superintendent, I'm responsible for everything that happens in this district. And I believe that the public has a right to know about the financial impact of it as well. And my mentor always had a saying. He said, "What would public education look like if we did what's best for kids and not what's best for adults?" And we can't hide kids. We have to educate them to the highest standard. And that's exactly what we're going to do going forward. Again, my philosophy is I'm the superintendent. I'm responsible for everything that happens here. But at the end of the day, this is the community's school district. And we have to restore that trust that we're going to do everything to the highest degree of integrity. So with that being said, I will open it up for any questions.
As far as restoring that trust, and what are the practice steps the district is ensuring that something like this won't happen?
So again, that was the current superintendent speaking about the allegations that are against the previous administration, if you will, of the school district. So very interesting. And again, time will tell what happens and how this plays out.
A long road to figure out that one as well.
Very much so. All right, moving on now to our third story in our top 4 at 4. This brand new technology that's been unveiled out of Austin, Texas, could really help schools be much safer when it comes to their response to active shooter situations.
Marlisa,
this is very interesting.
I love this one.
Yeah.
I love this one not only because we both have Texas connections, so we both have Austin connections. This is cutting edge technology.
Yes.
We all know drones. We know, they're always trying to, do new things with them, see what they can do. They are talking about using drones for stopping school shootings. Within seconds of shooters being on campus, they want to have their drones in the air. They want to have their drones basically attacking the threat. So this is called Campus Guardian Angel. So the co-founder and the founder say that these high-tech drones, as you see on your screen right now, and they're not small. These are quite large, and they can do some damage. The whole point would be that these can fly straight through school windows, and they're protected glass. So these things are strong. They're going to fly through the windows. They're going to take out whatever they need to take out to get to a possible threat, a possible shooter who has entered a school or somewhere that they should not be. And this will be operated from somebody sitting in Austin, Texas, regardless of where, the school may be, or the facility that may be, because this is just really the starting grounds of this. This could be used anywhere. And they will do what they can to take out the shooter. I mean, whether it's flying straight into them, taking them out physically, or talking to them. They can deploy flashbangs, they can deploy pepper spray, mace, any kind of thing, any kind of deterrent to take someone out, and it gives law enforcement, opportune time to get in there then. And once, the target is kind of maybe taken out a little bit, if the drone flew into him or, disoriented from any kind of flashbang or pepper spray, it gives law enforcement a better chance of being able to get the threat and take the threat out.
Yeah, not the superintendent, I'm still in the last story. The CEO and founder of this company called Campus Guardian Angel, his name is Justin Marston. We had a chance to speak with him just a couple of hours ago. Very fascinating conversation, and he talked a little bit about how these drones almost act within seconds, as you mentioned, and the importance of them getting to the scene before law enforcement does. So go ahead and take a listen.
During a school shooting, most of the shooting happens in the first 120 seconds. So it's really a race to try and get there to stop the shooter from shooting at kids. So what we do is we put drones inside the school ahead of time. They have less lethal effects on them, so they're able to go after the shooter. And so our job is to respond in 5 seconds, to be on the shooter in 15 seconds and to help degrade or incapacitate the shooter in 60 seconds, working with local law enforcement who are on the ground.
So again, very cutting edge technology when it comes to drones and how they're used to get to the situation before law enforcement gets there, kind of as a first line of defense.
Exactly. And I don't really know what the soundbite said there because I honestly couldn't hear it. But I think one thing is really, really neat is he talks about like where they got this idea from. And it was from the Russia-Ukraine war. They saw how vital drones were playing in that war. And they were like, how do we actually put this to good use? How do we put this to good use here to tackle our, issues here on U.S. soil? And so that's how I guess it all started.
Yeah, and this is only the beginning. He hopes that as the school year gets started, there will be more school districts who have an interest in this. They're actually going to be coming to Florida. He said Broward County. He hopes to be able to do a demonstration in Orange County. So he said that he'd let us know so that we can check it out and possibly do a report when they do come to town.
Definitely so. I hope I can be on that one.
Yeah. It looks like very good that's being done with the organization.
Yeah.
All right, we want to move on to our fourth and final story in our top 4 at 4. A sad story here. For those of you who remember, we're at a very emotional week, but we're coming up on the 9th anniversary. June 12th will be the 9th anniversary of the tragic Pulse nightclub shooting where 49 lives were tragically taken.
Yeah, 49 lives lost. No one, I think, will ever forget it. I think even, this isn't just Central Florida. This isn't just Florida. This is national. I think most people know where they were, on that date when that happened. So just a tragic story coming out of there. And then, in the years that have followed, 9 years on Thursday, people are still, confused. What's going on with the building? There was obviously the memorial and a failed memorial. Now it's back up and running again. So there's been lots of back and forth, Marlisa, as you know about that. One thing, though, the city is doing this week is they are opening up the old Pulse Club, which you are seeing on your screen right now. That's the outside. We have not seen the inside of that building. So we won't be, because it's only open to survivors and family members of victims that were there that night. This opportunity to walk through the Pulse nightclub, see what it was like, get some possible closure. They'll be doing them in very small groups, one group at a time. They'll each get around 30 minutes to be inside, take their time and hopefully move on and grieve, and see where their loved ones, obviously suffered either traumatic events or, spent their last moments.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people might say, oh, surely there's not a lot of people who are interested in doing something like that. But it sounds like there's been a lot of interest of people who are planning to go take part in this.
I would say, Marlisa, honestly, yes and no, because I've been on this story for quite a while now, and I've spoken to a lot of survivors and a lot of family members from victims who unfortunately passed away. The city says they've gotten interest from at least 30 people.
Yeah.
Which, sounds like a decent number, but I will say every single person I have spoken to, Marlisa, is not excited about it.
Really?
They are worried about the building itself. They don't think it can withstand people walking through it. They say it's not structurally sound because it has been open to the elements for the last 9 years. It's not like when people went in there and SWAT went in there, they then reconstructed the building.
Yeah.
It has just been lying there vacant, open to the elements, open to whatever. There's no AC running. So it's just really deteriorating. And I know there was a group that actually offered to pay the city the chance to have an engineer go in and make sure it was structurally sound before anyone kind of walked in and had to reopen those old wounds. They didn't have to worry about their safety as well while doing so. But the city never responded to that request.
Oh, wow.
So I do know a lot of people plan on being there that day, but whether or not they'll go inside remains to be seen, Marlisa.
Yeah. Still, regardless of where you fall, just a tragic situation. And of course, all these years later, we are still thinking of everyone who was involved and even people who weren't. This affected a lot of people.
Huge. The impact on this one was absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Worldwide, really.
Very much so. Well, again, Hannah MacKenzie, thanks so much for joining us. We will see you coming up at 5 o'clock.
Yes, I got to run. Yeah.
All right. That's your top 4 at 4 here on Fox 35 News Plus. Don't you go too far. We will be right back. I'm leaving your mic open. Welcome back to Fox 35 News Plus. Here, I'm Marlisa Goldsmith in for Garrett Weimer. We have a lot to get to today, but we want to begin with weather. So we are going to check in with Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist TJ Springer. Hi there, TJ. Good afternoon to you.
Hours ago we were talking. That feels like just 20 minutes ago.
I know. Listen, TJ, it's always a treat when you join us, but we have to get to first things first. The break that we got from the rain this weekend was magnificent.
It was great.
It was great.
It was great for anybody. It was the downside was that it was so brutally hot that we didn't have any rain to cool anything down.
But we shouldn't have to worry too much longer because judging by rain chances in the forecast, we should see some good rain this week, shouldn't we?
We really should. Yeah, we're actually expecting a fair amount of rain as we head through the remainder of our work week. And this is something that we're going to continue to see as we head through not just today, but our day tomorrow and our day on Tuesday, Wednesday into late week. That's kind of the pattern setup that we have. But for now, we don't have too many showers and thunderstorms out there. We've seen the clouds bubbling up in the heating of the day. We still have this influence of this area of high pressure that is continuing to move away from us, and with that we've gotten into, we're going to start to get into more of an onshore flow, but we also have a little bit of upstairs spin in the atmosphere. So between that and that sea breeze trying to move inland, we have seen some showers and thunderstorms developing, and we've seen some of these develop essentially right on top of the metro across portions of Orange County and Seminole County. We've seen that. We've seen these hit or miss downpours, some lightning as well. We've seen these getting east of Orlando, closer to places like Sanford. They're going to continue to lift off to the east-northeast through the remainder of our day. Now, temperatures have soared up into the 90s, and with that humidity, with that heat and humidity combo, it's really not feeling great. We have those feels like temps that have gotten into the triple digits. So if you are planning on getting out and about, try not to overexert yourself. Try not to push yourself out there in the elements. I was taking a walk on my break not too long ago, just trying to get some steps in, and didn't take too long to really start feeling that heat and humidity. So be sure you're being careful out there. Now, as we head through the remainder of our night, we're going to expect temperatures to dip back into the 70s. Still may have a stray shower or thunderstorm lingering. And then for our day tomorrow, I think chances start to increase even more so. We're expecting highs once again back up into the low to mid 90s, and then we're going to have that chance for showers and thunderstorms developing in the heating of the day. Same story with that heat and humidity. Those feels like temps or those heat indices could be getting back up into really the triple digits. Some spots may crack up around 103 or 104. So be sure you're being careful out there, and definitely trying to drink plenty of water and just take it easy out there. That's going to be something you definitely want to keep tabs on. Now, as we head through the remainder of our week, we are expecting chances for more showers and thunderstorms. That 7-day forecast is going to remain wet. We're going to have chances each and every day as we progress through not just midweek, but into the latter half of our week. So that's something we're going to continue to watch, Marlisa. I was wondering, I think what was showing on our screen, I'm just realizing that. I was trying to do it all from memory. I think there may be some technical issues we were having back in the Weather Center, so some of the graphics may have not been matching up with what I'm saying, but I'm just kind of putting those two and two together now. I don't know if that's been the case, but
that is the case. That is the case. We were listening to you as best we could, TJ. We were trying to figure out if it was on our end or not. But while we do have this graphic up about the Saharan dust, I know earlier this morning I chatted with Brooks Garner about it because he said he could kind of hear a little raspiness in my voice. Let's talk a little bit about the Saharan dust and how it's really impacting us here in Florida.
It's funny, Marlisa, because I've noticed the same thing, and I was kind of wondering if it was from the dust or if it was from maybe a little cold. But yeah, we've had this plume of dust that's been overhead. It's made for some fiery sunrises and sunsets. And the crazy thing is, we haven't had, a super high concentration of dust like we're seeing kind of out to our south and east right now. But if it was a bit higher and we did have some of that rain, we could have had what we call like a dirty rain, where it would almost look like your car has essentially dirt on it because of that dust coming down. You know, when you're talking about kind of making clouds in the atmosphere, those clouds latch on, or the particles that make up the clouds, or the droplets that make up the clouds, will latch on to some of those particles in the air. So if you have all that dust in the air, that can make for essentially that dust to latch on to the droplets, and then that rain to come down, and you have a dirty mess on your car and your decks and things like that. But we really haven't had the highest concentration to do that, but it's certainly made for some reduced air quality and the really pretty sunrises and sunsets, that's for sure.
You know, throughout the day, we've been talking about people visiting the theme parks because there's a lot of exciting theme park news. I know that you are a huge fan of the parks. What's it looking like when it comes to visitors? I know I have a couple friends who are going to be in town trying to check out the theme parks, so they want to know, what's the weather going to be like when I see chances like this? Should I still go? Is the day a bust? What do you advise as not only a meteorologist, but a theme park enthusiast? Is it fair to call you that?
Oh, I love that title so much, Marlisa. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know me. I'm obsessed with everything theme parks. I would say, I mean, whatever I do when I'm going out to the parks now, getting into the heart of summer in Florida, I always bring a poncho or a rain jacket. But for us, it's always the ponchos, just because we're likely going to have these chances for hit or miss downpours each and every day, especially with the setup that we're getting into now. So if anyone is visiting, you'll likely have some hot and humid starts to the days, dry start to the days, but then during the afternoon you might have to dodge some raindrops, or maybe even get into an inside ride to take some shelter from some of the heavy rain.
Yeah, that's always a good idea. And I know that there are plenty of places that you can kind of dip into at the local theme parks when it comes. You know, my favorite is checking out the food. That's one of your best bets.
Yeah, I'm with you 1,000%. I feel like getting a little food, something tasty to drink is great. A perfect little break from the elements.
And speaking of the elements, one last thing before I let you go. We're now officially into the rainy season, right?
We are, yeah.
Okay.
So we've gotten into the rainy season, and I think just like what we have this week, it's looking like later on this weekend, we might start to get into a bit of a ridge in the atmosphere, so that may be able to give us some slightly drier conditions. But usually when we have that ridge, we oftentimes get that onshore flow at the surface, so that usually means the sea breeze storms. So I feel like we are definitely in in the classic summertime Florida setup for afternoon showers and thunderstorms.
Oh, yeah. Always pack your rain jacket and your umbrella. That's what I've learned over the past few years. Have it in your car at this point.
But the best part is they're quick moving oftentimes, and you know, you can see them leave and then hopefully finish the day at the theme parks or the beach without any issues.
You're right. You are absolutely right. Well, TJ, thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 35 News Plus this afternoon. We certainly appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you, Marlisa. It was so great to join you.
Yes, you too. All right. Okay, so we have our weather update. We have top 4 at 4 we've already gone over. Listen, don't go anywhere because we still have much more to come here on Fox 35 News Plus. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fox 35 News Plus here. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday afternoon. We have a jam-packed show for you. Leading the top of our second half hour, we are checking in with Fox 35's Esther Bauer now because there's a public health and environmental emergency in Palm Bay. You all have got to hear this. A sewer line broke and sewage is seeping into neighborhood canals. Again, Fox 35's Esther Bauer is there on the scene live right now. I'm going to bring her in. Esther, how are you this afternoon?
Hey, we're doing okay. It's definitely been an eventful day here in Palm Bay.
Oh boy, I know you have been all over the place covering multiple stories for us, but this one with regards to this wastewater leak, what are neighbors experiencing out there?
Neighbors, I mean, are absolutely horrified. I want to put this around so you can see. We have several crews here on scene. This is Claremont Street in Palm Bay, but they are actively working for hours. They've literally been out here for hours and are still, we have traffic affected, trying to fix this 20-inch sewer line break in the city's wastewater system. Neighbors say it was the smell that really caught them off guard first, and we're talking about the smell of human waste just filling this area where we are. We do have kind of a rancid smell. But then in their neighborhood canals, which is Turkey Creek, they started seeing what looks like rocks floating in the water. And they said, we know it's not rocks. This is actually human waste. Then they started taking pictures, yes, and they are just devastated. I think the frustrating thing is, we've actually heard from several viewers at home during this entire day. We went out to another community in Palm Bay last year. This was 2024, and this was in Turkey Creek, where this is the same location we're at now. and neighbors were concerned about constant sewage spills happening in their community. So now we're hearing from viewers that saw that story and said that was in 2024. Why are these sewage spills still happening? So they're frustrated. They're asking, why are my tax dollars not going to fix the infrastructure, fix our stormwater system? And in particular with this, I'm going to give you guys a little closer look. With this specific situation, the city has called this a public health crisis. They also said that their stormwater team couldn't fix it. So we have several private contractors on scene right now trying to help fix this issue. But they also said they really couldn't do anything to stop the leak. So we don't know. I just asked the city spokesperson, hey, do we know how much sewage has seeped out, is still seeping? They do not even know how many pounds, how many gallons of sewage is going into these neighborhood creeks, but they're actively working, trying to get it fixed, and neighbors are extremely frustrated.
I can only imagine the frustration that they're experiencing out there. You have this issue. You're clearly impacted by it a great deal. You go to the city to get help, and the city's answer is, we can't fix this. This is beyond us. I mean, what has been their reaction to that? What's been the people living there?
Takes a lot of people by surprise.
Oh my gosh, well, the people living here are really just saying they want their tax dollars to go to fixing the stormwater system. They're really calling this a third world country problem. They're saying we live in America, should be, able to have sensors, have alarms, know when this stuff is going to be happening, so that we don't have the situation where they're concerned, number one, about public health, but they're also concerned about trying to save the waterway. I mean, we're investing billions of dollars to restore the Indian River that has, seen better days. But when you have a sewage spill like this, again, we don't know how much sewage is going to be going into Turkey Creek, eventually hitting the Indian River. That is going to do harm. We've gotten some pictures from viewers of dead fish. Unfortunately, we're hearing there was a manatee and her baby that were living in this waterway. Neighbors are concerned, is this manatee going to make it if they're now swimming in sewage infested water?
No.
And so they're really asking the city to be upgrading the system where we don't keep reporting on sewage spill after sewage spill in Palm Bay.
Yeah, there has to be a solution out there. Hopefully this private contractor will be able to sort through this and give the people living there some sort of relief sooner than later.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, they really have been out here for hours. We're going to be with a live report here at 5. We'll see if the scene is still active. But the entire ground, I mean, we have dirt piles. We have huge dirt piles. We have open pipelines here. I mean, dozens of workers just across this entire Claremont Street. If you are sensitive to smell, don't come out in this area because there is a pretty strong waste smell in the area, but it is affecting traffic. We have, 2-lane roads down to single-lane roads. So just a huge headache for people, and the long-term concerns of how it's going to affect the waterway, we still don't know.
5 News Plus.
Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine what they are dealing with right now. We'll make sure that we look for that live report coming up from you on Fox 35 News at 5 in just about 25 minutes or so. Esther, thanks so much for taking time to join us.
Absolutely. And just one last note, we have reached out to Florida DEP to see if they're investigating this spill. And we know the city could face fines for allowing this to happen.
Oh boy. Well, we know that you're going to stay on top of it for us as always, Esther. Thanks so much.
Awesome. We'll talk soon.
All right. Oh my goodness, just a terrible situation that the folks out there are dealing with in Palm Bay. Make sure you look for Esther's report coming up in our 5 o'clock newscast on Fox 35. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break and come back with more news here on Fox 35 News Plus on this Monday afternoon.
Yeah, so Muppet Vision 3D, the show that was actually built by Jim Henson himself, has now officially closed at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That closed last Saturday, the 7th. One cool fact about that I want to mention is the very last guest to walk into that show was Heather Beth Henson, his daughter. So I think that's really cool. A cool way to end that. They had a lot of fans there. But yes, it has closed. That show is done for right now. Maybe one day it could magically teleport back to one of the Disney parks, but for now it is gone. The Muppets themselves are going to be moving over into Rock and Roller Coaster on the other side of the park, and Disney has confirmed with Kermit himself speaking about it that was going to open up in 2026. They didn't give an exact date yet, but we do know that a Mandalorian and the Grogu re-theme of the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride is going to open at that same park next year in May. So I assume we get something in May, then maybe we get the Muppets later on in the year. Kind of gives Disney a 2-for-1 year at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Gotcha. So when it came to the send-off, there was a 13-hour send-off for this attraction. That's a long time. And I hear that they actually extended the hours a little bit later for people to kind of stay very nostalgic. There were a lot of emotions that went on. So how are you feeling? I want to do a check-in with you. How are you feeling in the midst of all of this?
So I love the Disney parks and I love the Muppets. This has never been my favorite show, and I might get some hate from that. I don't want it to go, I love the idea of us expanding on the parks, and I always want to add more attractions and more shows. But personally, this wasn't the biggest loss to me. Like if they took something away like the People Mover at the Magic Kingdom, I would be chaining myself up to the ride. But for Muppet Vision, I know a lot of people really cared about this. They went there, as you said, all day long. I'm really happy to see that Disney did extend the hours for the show. Some of the clips online from social media when the people would just cheer for the show to begin, and that final show, people were hanging out. They came in fun costumes. Some people built hats and other stuff. So it was great to see that there were so many fans there and that Disney did allow them more time to be able to enjoy that. It did seem like it was a fun send-off, and there was a lot of people there for it. I wasn't there on that exact day, but I did go earlier in the week to give kind of my final goodbye to the Muppets.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I know a lot of people are going to have a different opinion about that. So shut down the comments. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, I want to actually backtrack to when I mentioned Epic Universe. They have been teasing their new restaurants that are going to be coming in 2026. As big of a foodie as I am, I don't know why I just glossed over that so fast, because we need to give the food its own time. So let's chat a little bit about some of the offerings that we can expect.
Yeah, so Universal hasn't explicitly said what's going to be coming to the park, but there's been some photos that have been shared online now on social media of them putting up kind of subtle signage showing that they are ready to expand and something is going to be opening in 2026 in Celestial Park. So Celestial Park, that is going to be the center of Universal Epic Universe. They have a ton of restaurants and bars there, and it looks like they're already getting ready to add some more. There's rumors that they're ready to expand with other expansions, new portals, new rides. That has not been confirmed, but as you can see, the park opened up this year in 2025, and they're already ready for a 2026 expansion, and they're getting prepped for it right now.
They are ready. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this?
I am very excited for this specific thing because Universal Epic Universe has really kind of flipped my mindset on how Universal does food. Prior to Epic Universe, I had consistently said that Universal was not the best at your standard quick service food. They were very cheeseburger, chicken nuggets, pizza, again and again and again. Epic Universe throws that completely out of the way. A lot of these restaurants offer totally unique things. They're very well themed. The food gets out quick. It's very high quality. So while I don't know what this restaurant is going to be, it's in Celestial Park, which is my favorite of the lands at Epic Universe. So whatever it's going to be, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited about that as well. Last question for you. When it comes to the Muppets taking over the Rock and Roller Coaster area of their own coaster in 2026, at Hollywood Studios, do you have any insight on what we can expect that to be? I mean, we're halfway in between 2025, so it'll be here sooner than we think.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be arriving soon. We know this is going to be a re-theme of the attraction. So if you're someone that maybe loves the ride, but you're not the biggest fan of the Muppets, you're still going to get that same thrill. You can expect that launch. You're still going to go upside down. I'm very interested to see how they're going to intertwine the Muppets into this, because the Muppets absolutely are kid-friendly, but they're not afraid to also speak to adults. So the fact that we're going from a show that was available for everyone to a ride now that is for people that are of a certain height requirement, I feel like they can kind of tone the Muppets up a little bit. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which plays iconic 80s music over at Epcot with the Marvel characters. And now we have a chance. I don't know if we're going to see the Muppets playing their own music. Are they going to make up their own kind of songs to go with this? Or are we going to get more rock and roll? Maybe we get 90s and early 2000s music and the Muppets are just going to be kind of part of it. We don't have those exact details yet, but I think Disney has a lot of room for creativity and a lot of fun. The Muppets themselves are such unique characters with their own storylines. This could be done really, really well. We'll have to see exactly what it's going to be. I've seen some rumors online of people saying that they could repaint the iconic red guitar outside. They could make that look kind of like tie-dye, maybe look 70s. Who knows? We got a lot of stuff to learn about this ride, but I'm excited to see the change.
You caught me at 90s, 2000s music. I mean, that is my time. That's my jam.
Yeah, I mean, we have the 80s music for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Ride. Now, the Muppets themselves have been around for many, many, many years, so they have a lot that they could pick from. But we had Aerosmith. Maybe they want to push it back a little bit, as the ride gets updated, kind of pull the timeline a little bit as well. I don't think people would be upset about that.
I don't think so either. I like what you're thinking, Theron. Before I let you go, where can people find more information? Where are you online?
Yeah, if you want to learn everything you need to know, you can head to eyntk.info. We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff.
A lot of news coming out of the theme park world. I'm curious. I'd love to know what you all have to say about the departure of Muppet Vision 3D now that it's officially closed. It sounds like there's mixed reviews. I'd like to hear from you. Follow me on X and drop me a little note. Let me know what you think. Still, a lot more news to come right after the break here on Fox 35 Plus. We will be right back. The name. The microphone. That would be key in starting the show, right? Welcome back to Fox 35 News Plus. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We want to get to some sports here. If you are at all familiar with baseball, you know about the Tampa Bay Rays legend Evan Longoria. So here's the deal. On Saturday, he came back to town to sign a one-day contract to retire as a Tampa Bay Ray, to be inducted into the Rays Hall of Fame. So, he kind of left the team, but there wasn't a big to-do about it. So he came back to retire as a Ray, which was huge news. There was a press conference held over the weekend between Longo and the Rays owner, Stu Sternberg. And they talked a little bit about the legend himself, talked about what he's been up to since he left, since he wasn't playing baseball for the past year and a half or so, and just really what this honor means. I want you to go ahead and take a listen to what they had to say.
How fortunate we were from our scouting staff to be able to have the opportunity to draft and sign Evan in 2007. 2006, sorry, that's right. We were pretty crappy. Yeah, 2006, it was 7 years started. And it was really a transformative time for us. He was the guy we had #1 on our board by far. And fortunately, he fell to us at #3. And we never looked back. The team changed names, and Evan came right in as a Tampa Bay Ray. And the entire franchise changed, and the fan base and everything that went along with it. So I'm incredibly pleased, and we were all fortunate to have Evan make the choice to sit here and retire as a Tampa Bay Ray today. Thank you.
Evan, do you have some remarks?
Yeah, I'd just like to give a little bit of background on how it all happened. Obviously, I haven't played baseball in the better part of a year and a half now, but I waited in the beginning because I didn't know if I was going to play again. And then when I kind of made the decision that I wasn't going to, it was still about 6 or 7 months in between there where I was not even really deciding what I was going to do because I already knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to come back here and you know, end my career somehow as a Ray. And so through the help of, you know, front office people, Eric Neander, the clubhouse guys, us coming back last year and being able to throw out a first pitch and kind of kick off the celebration then. And the combination of Elvis and Eric over the past 5-6 months, working out this day and making it special for us. And them just really asking every little detail on how we can make it better and make it a day for us to celebrate kind of culminates today. So I was telling Stu before we came up here how you could be a really good player, but you have to have opportunity. And I felt like the Rays obviously we weren't very good before that. But when I was drafted by the Rays, I looked at it as, you know, I had a pretty clear path if I played well and I was able to kind of be the player that I thought I could be. I had a pretty clear path to getting to the big leagues pretty quickly, which I think is every young player's goal. So I was excited to be drafted by the team that was the worst team in the league for quite a long time up to that point. And I think, you know, he's being gracious in saying that you know, I was the most important, but we had a lot of great players who they drafted over the course of the next 2 or 3 years that were able to, you know, kind of be the ones that took us to where we ultimately got. So I'm grateful to everybody who I've seen in this room and done interviews with over the years. I'm happy that this is going to be the last time I have to stand up here and do a post or pregame interview because this will be the most nervous that I've ever been for one, for sure. But you guys have been nothing but gracious to me over the years. So the media here was amazing to deal with. The on and off field staff, you know, everybody that's in here that had any influence. I mean, I don't have a list. I wish I had a list of the amount of people that, you know, I came in contact with over the years, but we're never able to get as far as we can go without the help of everybody, both on and off the field. And the Rays from the very beginning, and it comes from Stu and the top down, we're always thinking about what they could do to make the on-field lives of the players better so that we could play the best. And everybody in the clubhouse, the traveling staff, the training staff was always the best at that. They made our jobs easier. So, you know, I'm quite certain that I'll forget to thank somebody. I wish I had a list, but it's it's been an amazing. We had 10 years here, and we raised 2 of our kids here, and we did a lot of great things off the field. And it's just been a very special community to be a part of. So I'm happy to come back here and be able to kind of conclude it here.
Evan, you talked about how you got to this path, but why was it important to you to do this and to come back and put that jersey? I know you're not going to play in the game today, but to put that jersey on one more time.
I mean, I really think it was a pretty obvious answer for me. I mean, I was getting asked the question so much while I was away, like, are you retired, or are you going to come back? The answer was always clear in my mind. I wasn't going to play again, and the answer was always clear that I was going to retire here. I just didn't know how to work it out yet. And so, like I said, thanks to, Eric and Elvis and, anybody else that had anything to do with that, my wife, we just worked through how we can make it, the best.
But it just felt like the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially because I never had a chance to come back as a visiting player. And I still don't think that would have taken the place of coming back and doing this. But yeah, it just felt like I never really had the ability to kind of close out that chapter. And thankfully, the Rays did put out a press release that I'm sure you got, stating that once we get back into the Trop, that I'll be able to kind of properly speak to the fans on the field and get inducted into the Rays Hall of Fame, and do it where we all started at the Trop, and that will be nice as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, it just felt like the right thing to do. Come back here.
Adam Berry, MLB.com. What does it mean to you to put the jersey on again? And then you said you were nervous. I'm curious why that is.
I mean, because there's a lot of cameras. I mean, that's why I'm nervous. But it feels good. I mean, every time I put this jersey on, I said it in a speech I had to give the other day. This always felt like the place for me. I always felt comfortable putting on the Rays jersey, and it feels good to put it back on. The jersey still fits. Maybe I will play tonight. I don't know, but yeah, it feels really good to be able to come back and put this jersey on and kind of celebrate what we created here.
Kendra Douglas, FanDuel Sports Network. Stu, can you talk about the foundation that Evan has laid for this organization and just what you hope future Rays and current players now realize what he's done and accomplished for this organization?
It is he and, as Evan had generously mentioned, a few other players who came shortly after and a couple before did lay that foundation. But there's no question that he was, the main cog in all of that, and we had an incredible amount of success. He came in here today, and the way we try to have our club run, there's still a number of people here who started out doing one thing and have grown into doing other things as well. More senior staff. Eric Neander, who's head of our baseball operations, is one of them. We've had people come in as interns and all through the training staff and all, so that they're able to continue to tell the story as they have and know what he has meant to this organization and the way he carried himself and brought his teammates together, and he was an exciting.
Again, that was Tampa Bay Rays legend Evan Longoria on his official retirement as a Ray. I want to thank you all so much for streaming us here on Fox 35 News Plus on this Monday afternoon. I'm Marlisa Goldsmith. Fox 35 News at 5 is next. Have a great rest of the day.
Right now on Fox 35 News at 5.